Good evening. Still dealing with cultural imperialism today. Hope everybody's doing great today, Africans. So today we want to deal with cultural imperialism from an aspect of dealing with us as a people and dealing with our culture container, which I mentioned yesterday, that our culture container was that we came out of was much different than the culture container that the Europeans came out of. And that's why that we cannot live by Europeans' rules and regulations of life, because their exploitative history, will only continue to push us in that direction. So we can't be living by European origin and culture and civilization that they brought into the world. We must live by ours and stuff. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about traditional Africa and dealing with we living up under communalism in Africa. We'll understand and look at the structure that the family had, the structure that the community had, structure that the individual had towards the community. We know that in traditional Africa, we know that the structure was made up out of sex and age. Whatever your age and your sex was, you had responsibility to do whatever your task was. And it was the same way all the way down. And also that, the elders were respected, even in the sense of brothers and sisters. Who was the oldest, always learn and guided the younger one to the right direction and truth, and learn them how to do different things and stuff, not trying to abuse them in any kind of manner, because we know that only way we can move civilization forward is by helping each other, training each other, and taking responsibility of ourselves to be a part of that communal society of Africa. Stop saying, I'm grown. I don't know what that means, I'm grown. Grown means that you're struggling to educate yourself, educate your people to become free. That's grown to me. And have anything to do with any numbers. And cultural imperialism, it have you talking about yourself, calling yourself out of your name, talking about our females, calling each other all kind of names, rather than calling yourself what you are, African. Cultural imperialism make you do those kinds of things without even realizing that you are, talking about yourself, downing yourself, and making yourself look good by talking about yourself, by talking about our people. That don't make no one look good. And they're so slick at it, they make us talk about other people. I know my nephew, Chris Norris, put something on the other day about, can we be racist? No, we can't be racist, because racism is an institutionalized part of the government. And so in order to be racist, you got to have power where you can make some determinations of everything to stop someone from doing whatever they're trying to do you don't want them to do. So we don't have no power to do anything like that. But this cultural imperialist forces have us to talk about other people. Common example, the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere. We go to Atlanta baseball team game, being there talking about some tomahawk chop, picking at the indigenous people, calling them out their name, all kind of ooh stuff, high school, professional, college, and having we being there going right along with them Europeans, picking at the indigenous people. For what? The indigenous people ain't never did nothing to us. Only thing the indigenous people ever did was help us on a constant basis. When we were running from the slave plantation, that was one of the safest place we could go, but to the Indian reservation. Well, they helped took care of us. We were married, some of their wives, and some of their husbands married our women. So I don't know why we be talking about them, and they make us talk about, for instance, they'll tell you that, the Indian was a savage. How the Indian gonna be the savage? No, it's a lie. What they said, you give somebody something, then you want it back. They'll call you what? An Indian giver. I mean, like, what the Indian ever gave us that they took back? And you want to call them anything, call them a European giver, because that's who gives stuff and take it back, so don't really give it. Just act like you're going to give it and just take it back, change your mind. So we still say a European giver, but we should never say an Indian giver, by no means. I hung out with the Indians many a time. I've been invited to participate with them and invited them to come to Fort Valley State to speak. So, don't be talking about the red man like that, we have to understand that's our landlord, like it or not. That's our landlord. We should respect them and not be trying to make mockery out of them. I can remember the first time Kansas City football team and Washington football team played each other in Kansas City, Kansas. And I was invited to go up to speak at the first conference against sports and violence and automobiles. They call it the First Conference Against Racism in Sports Coalition. And you had indigenous people there from all over the Indian land, from Peru to Canada, was there representing their peoples in their struggle, talking about regaining their land. And they talking about this land. So if you don't know nothing about what's going on with the indigenous people, think they just gave up on their land from the imperialists, from the colonialists. That's incorrect. They're still fighting. They still want their land. So we see how the culture imperialism teaches us to pick at other people. And we shouldn't be picking at nobody. We need all the allies that we can get. And the indigenous people is sure enough our ally. So, let's not do those types of things. And then people are always talking about they're fighting against the devil. And don't even know who the devil is. I can tell you who the devil is. Capitalism. You're always talking about racism, getting rid of racism. How you going to get rid of racism without smashing capitalism? Ain't no way. We said 2 capitalist parents gave birth to racism. So in order to destroy the child, you got to destroy the parents, because the parents will have another child. Must destroy capitalism. Even before you start thinking about destroying racism, I know how you think you can destroy racism without destroying capitalism. And everybody's talking about racism, and then be talking about economics, but never mention the word capitalism. It's capitalism that's murdering the people in all aspects of life. And we know it is. We don't come out no capitalist society. That's the European way of life. European brought capitalism into the world. All they want to do is suffer the people and gain whatever they can gain. And a lot of Africans think that the bigger your car, the bigger your house, the bigger your bank account. And you remember this club, that organization, make you more better. If you're a doctor, a sanitation worker, you're a doctor, you more better than a sanitation worker. I disagree full-heartedly. I tell you what, you don't agree with me that sanitation workers are more important than doctors, you better think again. Because you let the sanitation workers stop picking up trash and the garbage, see what all kind of filth and diseases come up out of that. Won't be enough doctors to see about us. But they'll make you think in society, the doctor is more important than the sanitation worker, and the doctor can make a whole lot of money. The sanitation worker can't get nothing but some crumbs. Come on now, that ain't making any sense. Cultural imperialism and stuff to make you think that a doctor is more important than a sanitation worker. I can never think that. With all the germs and diseases and stuff that will accumulate from that. No, so I don't think that one individual is better than another individual. You wasn't born no better, you can't die no better, don't think you better in between. If you got more, then you can help your people more. Don't be selfish, because it's the people that got you where you are. We gave up the blood to get you where you are. Yes, we did. Every accomplishment we made in this country, we gave up blood to do it. So don't be being fooled by the imperialist forces and stuff, you know. A lot of people don't know what imperialism is. Imperialism is when one country go to somebody else's country and rule their country. That's what imperialism is. Neocolonialism is when the imperialists go to your country and get somebody to rule that country for them. And we got a lot of them neocolonialist puppets in Africa. And we're going to get rid of them neocolonialist puppets in Africa. They cannot stand there because the people always fight for justice. The people always fight for justice. It's instinctive. But we can speed up the process by joining some organization working for our people. And that's what we need to do. And I hope y'all been calling Europeans. And I hope you've been calling us Africans and more Africans. Well, we struggle to move forward in our revolutionary process. And I encourage all revolutionaries to come on, do 15, 20 minutes or something, talking to the people about different subjects and different things. Let them know I'm not the only crazy one out here and stuff, you know. I have no other choice than to fight for my people's liberation and freedom. I must. You know, I agree. I've been brainwashed by a whole lot of people, a whole lot of men. I've been brainwashed. I've been brainwashed by. Yes, I have, no doubt. But they Africans are brainwashed by my people. Sure, certainly so. You know, so we got to do better in how we treat each other. We see that Donald Trump surely is a fascist. They got federal troops on the ground in Minnesota. They ain't talking about sending some to Chicago. The African mayor there, that queen, saying that we don't want them here and stuff, you know. Fascism. Donald Trump tried to do anything he can do to stay in office. Anything he can do to stay in office, he would do it. I told you yesterday, capitalism have no morals. And you know he a capitalist. Even when Bernie mentioned the word socialism. And then he ain't talking about scientific socialism. No, he's not. He is talking about some social bills upon the capitalism and stuff. You know, that's not scientific socialism. You know, like I said yesterday, capitalism is an economic, political, social system where the means of production and distribution are privately owned by a few. And I told you socialism is a political, economic, social system where the means of production and distribution are owned by the masses of the people. So these two economic systems cannot share the same space at the same time. Impossible. It's impossible. They cannot do it. Either you believe in socialism or you believe in capitalism. And if you believe in capitalism, you believe in you're running with the devil. And all y'all don't know who the devil is? Capitalism. It's imperialism. It's racism. It's Zionism. All y'all don't know what Zionism is. Zionism is the illegal settlement of Israel. That's what it is. It's illegal. It's immoral. It's unjust. And they murdering Palestinian people in the name of Judaism. They ain't no Jew. They Zionists. As people ask the question, what do Palestine have to do with Germany? They supposed to have been running from Hitler in World War II, went down to a little island off Africa named Cyprus and stayed there in 1948. Then they were declared it was enough of them to have a piece of Palestine. And been murdering and killing the Palestinian women, babies, every since. And then want to call somebody else a terrorist. And then always want to tell somebody they're anti-Semitic. Them Zionist dogs must be ran off the face of the earth. And you got to be against Zionism now, because you was against racism, and racism and Zionism is the same thing. And you was against apartheid regime in Tanzania, South Africa. And if you're against apartheid regime in South Africa, you got to be against Zionism. You must be against it. It's the same thing. You say you're against racism. So study and see. It ain't Zionism, racism, imperialism, all of that is up under the banner of capitalism. So we must destroy capitalism. Capitalism must fall. It's the enemy of the people. It's the devil. People every time we got to destroy the devil. Don't know who the devil is. The devil is capitalism. It's a system that must be destroyed. It ain't no good for human beings nowhere on the face of the earth. You know, Europeans want to live by that, go ahead. But we Africans, we want to live under communalism, which is the lowest stage of socialism. Socialism is the highest stage of communalism. You know, because we always want to share and help each other and live together. In traditional Africa, we had no homeless people. We had no juvenile delinquents. We had no old folks home. We had none of those types of things. We didn't have a word for it, much less an action. You know, and then now we let these capitalists, these Zionists, confuse us and having us believing in them, which is cultural imperialism. Got to stop mocking them, saying what they saying, picking at the indigenous people. And a lot of us have said, "Oh, I got Indian in my blood." Well, I said, you got a double fight on your hand then. You must fight to free both lands, this land and Africa. You know, so you got to get in the struggle, fighting for justice. You can't call yourself no religious person if you're not fighting for justice. And if you don't know who you fighting, then how you gonna fight the devil? How you gonna get rid of the devil? How you gonna destroy the devil if you don't know who the devil is? You know the devil ain't up under no earth. You know you stick a pole from North America all the way through it, you know you're gonna come out in China. You ain't gonna pass nobody on the way with some mineral and natural resources. No, we need to get away from that stuff that we've been taught is no good for us. Talking against ourselves, talking about ourselves. I'll tell you, brothers, in a minute, don't be calling no sister out of her name. I don't know no man can have no baby. So let me talk about my great-great-grandmama. Let me talk about my great-great-aunt's daughter, sister. Don't do that. No, honor our women. Call our women what they are, queens and princes. You know, so I don't know how long I've been on here today. 15 minutes might be up. But anybody that got anything to say, just send it back to me. And I deal with it best I can. And I encourage other progressive peoples to start doing the same thing that I'm doing. Because we got to uplift our peoples. And right now, because of the coronavirus, we're not able to get out and have no activities and large gatherings and festivals and different entertainment. So we need to try to use this media that we have to talk to our people. Matter of fact, you know, we can talk to more people now than we could when we was going on the college campuses and stuff. Because now we can talk to Africans all over the world. We can have friends of Africa all over the world. And we're talking to each other constantly all the time. So everybody stay strong. We're moving forward all the time. All the time we are moving forward. So we must crush capitalism. So anytime you hear somebody saying something about going to destroy racism, ask them, well, are we going to do the same thing to capitalism? Or do they know what capitalism is in the first place? Most of our people fighting things they don't even know what it is, can't give you a definition of it. You know, so we need to become more politically mature and learn how to organize our people, to learn more effectively how to fight against capitalism. We want more people who supposed to be spokespersons. You always see it on these TV shows and stuff. Supposed to be representing some Africans they done put up there. You know, none of them said nothing about capitalism. None of them mentioned nothing about imperialism. None of them mentioned nothing about neo-colonialism. None of them mentioned nothing about Zionism. They don't even touch it. All they do is getting that little money, running back to their house, and they let their spokespersons for African people. They don't even talk about Pan-Africanism. They don't even talk about it. No, we can't continue to deal with that. We got this media and African revolutionaries. We got to use this media to the best of our knowledge to help educate our people. We ain't got time for that bull jive on this media. We got to do everything we can to try to educate ourselves. We need to be trying to find little brothers and sisters that can come on and do some poetry and put that on Facebook. Do some poetry. I know y'all write poetry. I know a lot of adults write poetry. Get on, put some of your poetry on Facebook where we can see and hear your talent and stuff, and be nice and cultural about it. Don't get on there talking no garbage, calling nobody out of their name, talking about nobody. Some educational stuff, So we got to become better. We can't have this media and we don't use it for the best of our ability. I don't care if you use it to the kids and whatever, math, English. Come on a certain time of the day that you can deal with certain math, algebra, calculus. And we can use this media to help us do what we need to do. We got people that are retired from being school teachers sitting around, they ain't doing nothing every day, just bored. They can go use this news media, get some of the youth that they don't know how to help us older people how to use it more properly every day. But so much we can do. I mean, little kids can get on that, play the piano and sing, put it on Facebook. Let us watch their talent. Play act somebody. Let's use it for something good. Don't use it for no bull jive. It ain't time for no bull jive. We're in a revolutionary war. We got enemies, and we didn't make them our enemy. They made us their enemy. And if you got an enemy, you must prepare yourself for battle. So we must become more conscious of ourselves and what the position that we are in throughout the world, not just here in the U.S., throughout the world. And we must come together. And that's why I have friends all over the world. And I hope everybody that's my friend got some friends in Africa, Jamaica, Brazil, and different places in the world where we are at. Because we need that, because we can talk to each other, we can learn from each other, we can grow and develop each other, we can see who all on the same accord, who all moving in the same direction, who all saying some of the same thing, because that's what we need to be doing, saying the same thing. We need to be thinking the same way. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe in the total liberation and unification of Africa and scientific socialism. So it must be the primary objectives of all black revolutionaries throughout the world. They will bring about the fulfillment of the aspiration and inspiration of African people everywhere. And we must be self-reliant, self-sufficient. As Dr. Clark said one time, he had been in Africa in the bush for a while, and then he came out and people gonna ask him, do he think he could live without Europeans? He told them, he been in the bush for about 3 months. He ain't thought about one. So I'm asking them no, nothing like that. We live thousands of years before Europeans was on Earth. Made so much development. That's why we need to study our history more. I know I'm long-winded, but I'm gonna close it. See y'all back tomorrow night. And one more thing, that I had a problem because of where I live in the internet service. I be buffering all the time, trying to go live. So I decided to tape it, put it on my YouTube channel, take it off my YouTube channel, and put it on Facebook. And I want to try to do that and have it on there by 7 o'clock. So I won't be doing live till I can get some better internet service and stuff, but I will be coming and talking and encourage my nephew who live in Augusta, Chris Norris, to develop a program like this and pick a time and start coming on every day. It's my nephew. I'm very happy and proud of him. He's a progressive revolutionary, and he involved in a lot of different programs in Augusta. And If you're not friends with him, see if you can find him on Facebook and hook up with him. Chris Nard. Love your nephew.